Well, there's some good news, which is that someone in Parliament has finally said what everyone was kind of thinking, which is deport them now. Unironically, so maybe you've come back at the good time to find out that British politics is not completely useless.
I'm a good omen, you know. Yeah, I just mentioned my politics. I messaged that guy, by the way, who said that and just said, "Hey, maybe deport them, lol." And he was like, "Shit, it's a good idea, man."
What, the MP?
Yeah.
So, for people who don't know what I'm talking about, someone gave a speech in Parliament, and we'll get to the speech in a moment. I just really want to quick promote something, of course, this being Frank Dikötter's The Tragedy of Liberation book club we did. If for no other reason than just because I remembered that we picked some good backing music for the intro, which was good fun. Is that not playing? I can't hear it.
I love the music. I can hear it.
I can hear it.
You can hear it?
Yeah, it's some like CCP or Chinese music or something. Yeah, glory to the CCP, by the way.
The thing, damn it. It's good fun. Anyway.
Hi folks, welcome to this book club of the Lotus Eaters, where Callum and I will be discussing.
Quiet, Carl.
Does it come on audiobook too? Because I can't read on right.
Yeah, there's also.
I went to British public school. So.
There's also audio for those who went to a British university.
If you're anything like me, witnessing the gradual decline of Western civilization can really drain your energy. But if you want to get through the day with your sanity intact and keep a sharp mind as we wade through the ashes together, a good night of restful sleep is vital. That's why you need Rest Again. Rest Again is a natural supplement that contains 11 scientifically backed ingredients designed to get you to sleep and help you to stay asleep by working with your body's natural processes and not against them. Rest Again wants to ensure you get a great night's sleep and make sure to do this by sticking to doses of ingredients that have been shown to work and have not chosen the cheap option for you. Rest Again starts by supplementing the vitamins that your body needs to produce GABA and melatonin, the sleep chemicals, naturally, including vitamin D, B6 and magnesium. Then, Rest Again adds in herbal extracts like ashwagandha and L-theanine, which have been shown in scientific studies to help people get a better quality of sleep. And to top that off, Rest Again gives you what you need to get to sleep at night, not just after your body has started producing what it needs. That means an extra dose of melatonin and GABA that tells your body it's time to sleep. Rest Again doesn't claim to be magic and can't promise you that it will work for you, but if you're not getting the results that you're satisfied with, then Rest Again guarantees to give your money back. So if you're interested in improving your sleep, then click the link below and get 25% off.
But anyway, this is it. So this lady basically, she's the MP for, I believe, Hartlepool or whatever the area is, and a local man from not England decided to break into the country, was given a free hotel, and then went, man, my life is so bad, and decided to stab a pensioner to death.
Many such stories.
There are indeed many such stories. I mean, multiple, in fact.
I've been to some shit hotels, but
yeah,
I think the furthest I've gone is an in-caps review.
It must be the travel lodge, to be fair. That really pissed me off, those places.
But this has been going on for ages. These are just some other examples I thought of to the top of my head.
Future Doctor.
He was done for murder in Serbia and then came here and murdered another guy. This one where a migrant's tragic story, the Guardian write, and then it turns out he'd stabbed 6 people.
Wholesome 100.
Yeah. But this lady has just had enough. And I'm glad to see that she actually just went into Parliament and was like, I'm done. So let's play it.
On Sunday, Terence Carney, a 70-year-old Hartlepoolian, was murdered by an asylum seeker. The people are afraid and angry. Every week, my office is besieged by asylum seekers. My staff are intimidated by young men. The fact is, most of them are illegal migrants who should be expelled. My thoughts and sympathies are with Mr. Carney's family and friends, and all my constituents affected by this heinous crime. However, sympathy is not enough. They deserve action, and I am demanding it. Will the Prime Minister take action? Will he make sure enforcement is delivered? Will he ensure that people who have no right to be here are expelled? Enough is enough. I want these people out of Hartlepool now.
Mr. Speaker, as my honourable friend knows, I'm unable to comment on cases which are currently before the court, but can I join her in expressing my sympathies to families affected? And I would like to...
Yeah, he then goes on to say, I'm totally deporting people, trust me.
Yeah, totally.
Irony on the WhatsApp in the bottom corner, it says Islamic Jihad.
Trending in the UK.
Islamic Jihad. Big if true.
And it's not the only clip that went viral, but it's finally good to see that a shift seems to have happened, which MPs now, who have death on their doorstep, are now able to do something instead of nothing when death happens on their doorstep.
Yeah, it should have been done like 20 years ago, but yeah.
Yeah, she did go on Nigel Farage's show, and on here she just talks about how her staff are just getting harassed 24/7 by these people in the hotel, the sea people. Yeah. They turn up shouting at her parliamentary staff that they want visas. And of course, the parliamentary staff are like, we don't even work for the Home Office.
Yeah, we don't deal with that. It's not our department.
And no matter how many times they tell them this, they keep coming around. So that's also personal harassment she has to deal with. And it's good to see the shift there, at least on immigration. People are starting to realize maybe the quality of the type of people who come to your country is important. And maybe illegal aliens who are coming from countries where there was a massive ISIS insurgency recently aren't the best neighbors.
Yeah.
What, France?
Yes.
Yeah, it's my favorite Muslim country, France.
Same. But it's a lesson that hasn't been learned by everyone, and it's something I wanted to go through because I saw this interview recently, and it's Jacob Rees-Mogg being interviewed. And Jacob Rees-Mogg, on most occasions, is a perfectly polite person, doesn't give insane answers. He's not the type of parliamentarian we're used to, just like actually moron type, or just insane leftist. And so I was really disappointed to see his responses to some of this, because the guy interviewing him is an absolute Chad. And he decided to just put the failures of the last 13 years on this topic at Jacob's feet. And Jacob's answers are not very good.
Yeah.
And we're going to play the first clip, which is just the intro to this interview. And just the setup alone is just funny.
Hello and welcome to Off Script. My name is Stephen Edgington. 13 years after the Conservatives entered government, and since then illegal and legal migration has soared, Britain's institutions have been captured by left-wing zealots. The national debt has surpassed 100% of our GDP. The tax burden is the highest since the Second World War, and we are seemingly governed by a party indistinguishable from that of the left-wing opposition. To discuss his party's record in government, I'm joined by Sir Jacob Rees-Mogg, MP.
He has his face of really.
It's just like, oh, nice to meet you too.
Yeah, he's just like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, that's just something I enjoyed, frankly, that part there, where he's just like, yes, for the last 13 years, you utterly failed everything you promised. How do you feel about that? And of course, Jacob being Jacob has to endorse everything they've done. But it moves on to the bigger question, which is, he asks him, has multiculturalism failed? And the answer to this from Jacob, I think, is just telling.
Yeah, it failed 20 years ago, mate.
Indeed.
Has multiculturalism failed?
The problem with that question is it's all in the definition of multiculturalism. What do you mean by it? Now, if you say, does the UK have a remarkably placid race relations system within our country, and that's multiculturalism, then it's succeeding. If, on the other hand, you want to say, have we got a system where all cultures are equal and respected, and that perhaps we've lost some of our own values, then you may say that it's failed. So it depends definitionally what you're meaning. And I think we should be very reassured by the good temper of British society, particularly when you compare it to the United States.
I suppose when one looks to other examples of nations which are less multicultural and more homogenous, like Poland and Japan, they don't experience similar issues that we've had in Britain. So when one could look to recent riots around the Palestine protests in London, after the single worst killing of Jews in a day since the Holocaust, you saw these terrible experiences on the streets of London. We've seen the horrible scandal of the grooming gangs across much of England. We've seen several terrorist attacks over the last years. There have been inter-ethnic conflicts in places like Leicester, and there are many divisions and tensions inside British society. So I suppose when you can compare us to the United States and say that we're a success, but when one compares us to, let's say, those other nations I mentioned, perhaps it's been a failure.
Or you compare us to France, and we've been an enormous success.
Not an answer.
Yeah, and it's like, oh well, okay, yeah, we're crap, but they're crapper. Yeah, but why are we settling for crap?
Yeah, I like crapping on France, but this is just not the time at this point. It's like
France is so bad.
Yeah, I went to France and
we're close.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we're a little bit better, man. It's like, wow, if you get a bunch of people of differing ideologies together and stick them in a place with no jobs and stuff, wow, with this conflict, who would have seen this? It's like I don't understand. They're really retarded.
Like the actual people who promote multiculturalism as an idea are just like, you aren't thinking as a human being.
Yeah, you got no common sense. Everyone's got to hold hands and sing rainbows, and everyone's gonna be best friends. Like, hell no.
But I love
care for Calais.
Yeah, man.
I love how like methodically he just lays out, well, obviously this place is worse because of all these problems we didn't used to have that we've imported.
Yeah.
And also I can prove that because here's some countries that don't have that problems because they didn't import it.
Yeah,
and he's like, well, at least we're not France.
Have you seen how the British Empire is blamed for splitting up ethnic groups by creating and drawing lines in countries, when we left and everything? And turns out if you put a bunch of ethnic groups together that, aren't the same, they segregate and cause conflict, but apparently it's normal to do in the West.
Complete cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, exactly.
On foreign policy, it's bad, but domestically for us, that's a good thing.
Yeah, when I go to America, it's just nice to not expect to be stabbed. Instead, you just get shot by a school shooter or something, which is lovely.
Yeah, that's an American tradition.
Why are you in an American school?
I've got a few secret families at best, and
anyway, but moving on, because there's some other questions in here. I mean, the whole interview is just kind of fascinating, but Jacob's complete failure to get these points correct, in my view, I think is just so telling. And if he looks at himself, I think he'll also agree, because the next one is just comical. And it's him saying that you literally can't figure out whether or not immigration's increased the crime rate.
If every crime committed by somebody who is either an immigrant or the descendant of an immigrant is a failure of multiculturalism, then all societies at all times fail, because a percentage of any group will be criminals. Dare I say, there are even some criminals in Somerset, which will shock anybody watching this. But in all societies, there are criminals, there are bad actors. Would crime be lower or higher without mass immigration is an interesting question, but one to which I don't think there is an answer.
I can give him the answer.
Sounds like a posh Owen Jones.
Yeah.
He's such a politician.
It's just so weird.
What a wanker.
Yeah.
Oh, hell.
It's so weird for him especially to say that, because like, you're the government. Here's some government statistics. Maybe we could prove it that way.
Oh yeah. It's like I wonder which group commits the most crime. I can't quote the statistics here.
Oh, we'll just quote the British government instead.
Oh yeah.
Which they keep statistics on the prison population, and for some reason there's a massive overrepresentation of some groups and underrepresentation of others. So the increase in the Hindu population of the UK, for example, has led to a decrease in crime, because they just don't commit crime at the same level. They don't make up the prison population. You can see there, for example, I think the Hindu population in the UK is something, I don't know, a few percentage points.
Yeah,
and they make up
really chill.
Yeah, they make up 0% of the prison population statistically. Yeah. They're rounded to 0.
Or they're really good at not getting caught.
Yeah, when I went to Leicester with Rebel after all the riots there, the Hindus, like, they were even uncomfortable just speaking privately to us about what's going on. Like they that's how soft they were. Yeah. They didn't want to talk to us. Like, there's none of them round. Just the camera's away. And they're like, oh, yeah, but we can't talk.
Well, then there are other groups where you can just look at the percentage points. So, I mean, like the Muslim population of the UK, massively overrepresented. And then you could look at racial groups. Sadly, they don't keep ethnic data, so it would be clearer for us to look at.
Oh, trust me, I can give you the answer.
But it's just comical that he sits there and is like, there's no way to find out. It's just something that particularly annoyed me about that one.
Yeah.
If we go back to the video, I'll just end the last one here, which is him saying the mass ethnic change of the UK is something that is not thing to worry about, in fact.
Oh, nothing to worry about. Oh, I'm with ease then.
Finally, I can
lead on the Labour Party.
This is what's so weird, because it's like, Jacob, you're an educated person, and usually you're not foolish. I don't know why you would say these things.
If he says something, he probably gets fired or
reprimanded. Well, yeah, because he works for the Conservative wing of the WEF.
You might assume so, but I sincerely believe this is his sincere held opinion, because it's a safe space where he could have said anything, and he doesn't. But we'll play it. You guys can make up your own mind.
Increasingly, British cities, according to the census data, are increasingly non-white British. We've seen a trend over the last few decades, particularly since the 1990s. Do you see this as a concern? Is our demographic change going too far too quickly?
Oh, I'm not concerned about it at all. I'm not concerned about the racial makeup of the country. I am concerned about the borders issue and the number of people coming in. We cannot cope with 606,000 people coming in every year. That's too many. It's more than we have houses for. It's more than we have infrastructure for. But the social makeup of the country is not a concern of mine, as long as people are here as British citizens and willing to obey the law.
Nothing to worry about.
It pisses me off when they say, and apologies for the language, when they're like, we need to stop it. Yeah, well, do it. Actually go and do it. And it breaks international law. What do you mean breaks international? What are they going to do? Right, UK, you're going to jail for 10 years.
Yeah.
What are they
Put you in country jail.
Hey, you give me an M16 and a little dinghy, I will protect the whole of England's waters. Trust me.
Yeah, we have
I
a Navy.
will do a very effective job.
Why don't the Navy do the Navy's job and protect our waters?
Yeah.
You remember the Afghan guards we had in Daria?
Yes.
I remember speaking to some of them, and they were just utterly dumbfounded when they found out what's happening with our channel situation. And I was like, yeah, what would you do? And they were like, well, you know what I do? And I was like, okay, maybe we should put you in border control, and you can deal with it. But whole other conversation. But to end it off real quick, because we're running out of time, it'll have no impact, I'm sure. Well, here's the census data, where you can find places in London, for example, that have 0.0% of the white English, Welsh, Scottish,
Tower Hamlets.
Or British. It's not Tower Hamlets, actually.
Really?
This is Brent over here. These are two neighborhoods that have 0, and then the surrounding neighborhoods, it's much higher.
I had to do my duty and move into this area. Yeah.
But the point being, it's like, it'll have no impact. Well, people who live here may have noticed an impact. I mean, I went and met them. They've definitely noticed it. But Jacob, though, and this is the problem I find with such people who think like that, or at least profess to think like that. Where does he live? Well, thanks to the ONS census data being available, we can just look it up.
Somewhere very rich and white, I imagine.
95.9% white English, Scottish, Welsh, Northern Irish, or British. And this isn't actually a thing about race. This isn't a thing about race either. It's about ethnic groups, because it doesn't matter if he's German, he's not English. And we can see this when I went even closer. I managed to find where Jacob lives and got his constituency for, his home and the village he lives in. And that's what it looks like. 0.0% literally anyone except white English, British, 0.4% Irish, and 1.1% white other. So
no gypsies.
0. Well, it statistically came to 3 Europeans and 1 Irishman.
Yeah. Maybe 1 Afghan soon. Yeah.
Bring your boys. But I just love the idea that he's sitting there being like, I have no idea why people are moaning about demographic change in the country. It's like, because demographic change for him has been 3 Europeans and an Irishman.
Yeah, he sits in a little gated community as the world is burning around him. He's just sipping his tea in his little tropical garden away from the world. I mean, this is
grade
fine.
2 listed mansion, in fact.
Oh, yeah. Really?
Yeah, sincerely.
Oh, wow. I wonder where he gets all the money from. Obviously, nothing but
Afghan gold.
Yeah, Afghan gold.
Sells Afghan trainers in some
big business, by the way.
But
anyway, on the grind set, it'll come out one day.
It's just something I want to talk about. There has been a shift in British politics, and you saw the speech in Parliament, which is good news, which is that, illegal aliens should be deported because, they're illegal.
It should be done 20 years ago. You shouldn't let them in the first place. If I was PM, I would physically go there and round them up. I would get like a lasso.
Personally working with the police.
Yeah, no, I would get a lasso and just pull them here and just chuck them in. I would drive them to France and be like, you're free, go on.
You're in your homeland.
I would actually take them all back to France.
Yeah.
Because, they get rid of their documentation and they go, I'm a refugee. And because they've got no documentation, and under the 1951 Asylum Convention, we have to prove otherwise. All right, the only information we have to go on is you've come from France. Therefore, bon voyage, you're going back to France.
Oh, yeah.
And make the French actually secure their southern border.
The issue is they keep trying. They will keep trying. They'll keep coming across the border, and of course, obviously, if we improve border security, some will still slip through. So I honestly think there should be some sort of punishment in place. I know, send them to Haiti or something.
Well,
I don't see why not.
On.
Honestly, I think honestly, you have a whole thing where we deported them back to Africa at one point. Some refugees.
What, to Rwanda?
Yeah. And they were really pissed off about that. And you think, if you really are a refugee, you should be happy if you go anywhere that has any prosperity. It's like they just want to come to England just because they think it's an easy life where you claim benefits to get more money.
Well, you can if the government allows you to.
Oh, yeah.
Think how good it would be, right? If you're at Calais and you've got loads of empty trucks and you're like, do you want to come to England? You can't go in. You shut it and you drive south.
Yeah, like
you open up and go, you're free.
15-day drive to just go.
It's a 15-day drive to England.
Oh no, I thought you meant to like the Congo or something.
Just imagine they will be so demoralised they won't want to try again.
Yeah, man.
Well, maybe that's a solution. But until then, I mean, chat's saying they've got your Wonder Woman outfit for your plan, which
what?
Wonder Woman outfit for your lasso.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I would even wear the uniform. I'll have a good figure. Lovely. I don't have the hair for her, but I can wear a wig.
But I just wanted to mention, there has been a shift in British politics, which is interesting. But not only that, I want to remind people you can use this ONS tool to actually find out what your politicians live like. because you can find the data, and then you can be like, oh, that's why they have no idea what demographic change does to a neighborhood. Because Jacob Rees-Mogg over there is like, I don't care where they come from. I don't care if they're European or Irish. Anything, really. It's all fine to me. Okay, mate. If you appreciated that episode from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content that's on the site, such as the premium videos, this one on how we can win the culture war, a speech of the witten from Carl Benjamin. If you'd like to find out what else is being put out, you can follow on Getter at lotuseaters_com on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.